Of Miami, Fulton Walker. He does not get back to the 20-yard line. Stopped cold at the 17. So Dan Marino, as we had reintroduced the Dolphins, there's the first half statistics. The Dolphins dominating ball control, the bottom line there, nearly 19 minutes to 11. The pass interception for a touchdown, a key for the Raiders. Yards passing in the Dolphins' corner, just a few more yards rushing for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Raiders offense proving that they could move the ball in this first half too. They have exploited the running weakness of the Miami defense.
The shower has stopped, but the grass will be wet here in the third quarter. Alzado again, and his attack has been to slant sharply in from defensive end. That's the third time he's made a tackle in the backfield with that kind of penetration.
Alzado, along with this Raider defense, really feeling the challenge of this opportunity to play this Miami offense, and they're coming off a hot streak. They have been playing excellent defense over the last 5 or 6 weeks, and the Raider offense has not been playing as well, but defensively they have just improved and improved, and of course ranked number 2 in the NFL, and they're showing you why in this ball game tonight.
Against the top-rated offense in the entire NFL. Nathan and Carter now behind Marino. The quick-arm quarterback finds Nathan, and he has a first down at the 31-yard line. McElroy and Haynes make the tackle.
Accuracy, so important for a quarterback with confidence in his arm to be able to throw that ball on target. Nathan did not have enough for the first down when he caught that football. Had to turn and pick it up. It was very fortunate, I think, that he was not grabbed a little sooner. There were about 5 defenders circling around him.
15 yards on the play. First possession of the second half. Miami trailing the Raiders 17-13, and here comes an all-out rush on Marino, and they blow it dead. They say he was in the grass. Marino was going down anyway. So that is only the 8th time this year Marino has been sacked, and only the 9th time for the Dolphin offense.
Appropriately, the man who got to him, number 75, Howie Long. Howie coming from the inside here. Marino almost got away. You see it right there. The official determined that Marino was in the grasp of Howie Long. Literally tore his shoulder pad out, had a hold of his shirt. Howie stopped because he heard the whistle, by the way, if you're wondering.
And Marino was going to go down anyway. He wasn't going to try to throw the ball.
Howie has tremendous hand strength. Once he gets a hold of you, he not going to let go.
Big loss for the Dolphins, 12 yards, so it's 2nd and 22. Undaunted, Marino to the air. And that one skipped short. That's about as far off target as Marino has been the entire game. Mark Duper, the intended receiver.
Maybe just wanted to show us that he's human, Dick. That was not a good pass. There are the numbers on Marino for the evening. 200 yards even, just as we break into the early part of this second half, and he's well on pace for another 300-yard outing.
Just 23 years of age. Landed through his 36 touchdown passes when he was 34. When Marino's 34, it'll be 1995.
I don't even want to think about that.
What a future for this Miami franchise. 3rd and 22. Throw short, but he had to get rid of it under pressure, and perhaps the Raiders have done the one thing that very few have accomplished this year, and that has been to pressure Dan Marino. And Greg Townsend was right on top of the quarterback on that last throw, and he had to dump it off, and it was short.
Situation substitution. Greg Townsend from the right side of your screen. Watch him. He'll blitz into your screen right there. Marino could not wait long enough for those receivers to open up. Simply unloaded the football, and that's one of the reasons he has so few sacks. He won't let you sack him, Dick.
The wind has really died down, so Roby won't get much benefit from a breeze. And Clee Montgomery, 41, and to the 49 of the Raiders. Bruce Hardy and company on the tackle. Only a 40-yard kick by Roby, 7-yard return, and we have a timeout. Kenberg, welcome back to the Orange Bowl. 2 quality teams in a playoff environment, and the Raiders leading 17-13 over the favored Dolphins. Raiders ball first down at their 49. Early in the third quarter. Kenny King, rare carry for him. And the former Oklahoma star is out of bounds at the 45. The Sooners will be here in the Orange Bowl on NBC, and some feel that if BYU stumbles a bit, it might well be Oklahoma playing for the national title on New Year's night.
And at the bottom of your screen there, Todd Christensen, a BYU graduate, and there's a man who is ready to come back into the ball game if needed. Tom Flores said, I'm not going to be hesitant about putting him into the ball game, and you got to wonder if maybe Plunkett isn't poised for another one of his miracle comebacks.
He's the man. He knows how to write the book. He's been out since the 6th game of the season with that stomach tear. Wilson to Christensen, hit immediately by Mark Brown, but not until the Raiders have a first down at the Miami 36.
It's a BYU battery there.
Couple of Cougars connecting. Wilson to Christensen.
Jack, the emotion of those final seconds of the first half, the tremendous surge by the Raider defense has really carried into the opening moments of this half.
You feel it in the crowd too.
You really can. You really can. And the Raider defense shutting Miami down. The offense coming right back and moving the ball down the field.
And Marcus Allen in at the 34 after a 2-yard gain. Doug Betters, he's been rather quiet today, and that says a lot for Henry Lawrence, a man who has been charged with blocking the outstanding defensive end of the Dolphins.
Lawrence, they call him the killer, working hard on Doug Betters. I really believe, though, that in Doug Betters and in Howie Long, two of the finest, if not the finest, defensive tackles. Now, they may not get the notoriety of a Mark Gastineau, but believe me, in terms of it being complete players, playing the run, playing the pass, doing everything that's expected of them, I think they do a heck of a lot more.
Christensen has another reception and out of bounds with a first down at the 21. 13 more yards for Christensen, who's moving on that 70 catch mark for the year. Oh, he has been productive. To think that, well, I guess part of it was his own stubbornness. He did not want to be a tight end. He was a running back at BYU, and when Dallas drafted him in the 2nd round, they suggested he become a tight end. Didn't want to. Let him go. Giants had him for a while. Couldn't find a place for him, and finally he was convinced, hey, maybe that's my spot. Boy, were all the coaches right. He is some tight end. Kenny King putting on the brakes and getting outside. Gets a block. And down at the 10-yard line, I believe that was Dokie Williams out there helping him along.
Was indeed, and what a blessing speed is. King starting to his right. There was no hole. The defense totally committed to that side. King just stopped. He looked like he put on the brakes on both sides and just bounces back the other way. Tremendous reactions using his speed. Lyle Blackwood 42. There's Dokie Williams. He just got in the road over there. William Judson 49. And they have an important first down just inside the 10-yard line.
So first and goal, the full 10 yards for the Raiders. Frank Hawkins for 3. Bob Brudzinski, 59 on the bottom of the pile, a former Ohio State All-American and one of the better backers against the run. Former Los Angeles Ram. Came here after he quit the Rams in '80. Born on New Year's Day, and he has celebrated his birthday in a football uniform several times.
Raiders have gone to their 2 tight end plan here with Casper in a wing situation just outside of Todd Christensen.
There he is, Dave Casper, the other tight end, and the veteran from Notre Dame gets 6 more on the board for the Raiders.
Well, the echoes, ghost to the post. That's not really a true post pattern, but this is what the Raider coaching staff put in to take advantage of the 2 tight end situation. Casper just sliding in from the right-hand side. You'll see him coming into the picture right there, number 87. Breaking open across the middle, working on Charlie Bowser, 56, the linebacker. And Casper has put 6 points on the board. Barr will see if he can put up a 7th.
It's good. So Casper, only 3 catches all year, but 2 of those for touchdown. And with 9:35 left in the third, Flores in the catbird seat, at least here early in the third quarter. And he has not lost to Shula and the Dolphins, and that is a record to be admired. 4-0 against one of the masters. Bolton Walker deep.
Onside.
Oh, look at this, and it should work. The Raiders have recovered at the Miami 49-yard line. Oh, they caught Miami with their backs turned.
That, of course, the perfect opportunity to take advantage of a team. Totally unexpected. Barr just kicking a little roller down the field and following it himself.
He almost fumbled it back to Miami.
It looked like he had trouble getting his handle on it. He just taps it right here and stays right on top of it. Actually, 3 Raiders. Jeff Barnes, the blocker, and he's the guy that got down and got on top of it. The 2 Raiders, who would ordinarily be the men to go down and break the wedge, were actually assigned to be blockers in that situation, running ahead of Barr to keep the defenders away from the football.
It went the necessary 10 yards. Actually was 12 yards downfield before covered by Barr. That's got to be, that's almost like a pitcher hitting a home run. That's a big moment for a kicker.
Perfect execution of the onside kick, and it is most effective when you do the unexpected.
First downs today. First down play apparently.
Yeah, look at the average on those first down situations. 14 plays with an average of 5.9 for the Raiders. Much more successful on the early downs than Miami.
Here's Marcus Allen, and he's going to better the average some more as he plows for about 12 to the Miami 39. Now the Raiders certainly have momentum on their side and an 11-point lead on the scoreboard.
Always an embarrassing moment for the special teams coach when that kind of play works. However, the special teams coach for the Dolphins, really the man himself, Shula. So it's pretty hard to chew anybody else out.
I don't think the Dolphins have been this far behind all year, have they? 24-13. Hawkins for a few. Miami Dolphins, they've lost only once, and that was in overtime after Von Chaman missed a 44-yard field goal in San Diego that would have won it in the final seconds, and the Chargers won in overtime. The only defeat suffered by Miami.
Interesting, Dick, to have followed the Raiders through this season. Early in the year, they talked about the fact that they could turn it on when they wanted to. They reached for the gas a couple of times, didn't have it. But suddenly here, late in the season, they appear to be getting back into the swing.
Hawkins, little inside move on a trap, and nothing much there. A gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd and 5. Baumhauer from Alabama down the bottom of the pile, playing with that bad ankle, but refusing to go to the sidelines.
He was hurt actually in the San Diego game 2 weeks ago. Ed White, huge tackle, dove on the back of his leg. Baumhauer will come out in this situation as they try and get a couple of extra bodies in there to rush the passer. 3rd and 6. 3rd and 7, actually.
Wilson is 0 for 3 in 3rd downs. Crowd trying to help the Miami defense. Incomplete. Intended for Barnwell, who was injured earlier, the shoulder, apparently okay. See if the Raiders go for a long field goal. No, Ray Guy comes in to punt. Other late games, Seattle leading Detroit 21-17 at the end of 3 quarters. Of course, Seattle, knowing that Denver, as you see Barnwell limp off, has lost at Kansas City in overtime, and the Rams lead 27-7 over New Orleans after 3 quarters.
It looked like someone may have stepped on the inside of his leg. It looked like their cleats had ripped right through into the back of his leg as he was heading for the sideline there. But that pass was not well thrown. Wilson's timing was off on the play, and he was kicking himself as he left the field.
So the onside kick recovery does not lead to any further advantage for the Raiders. Ray Guy aiming his punt, and they will mark it at the 8-yard line.
Rifle shot for Guy, who is becoming better all the time at putting that.
Dealing with a shoulder injury, and that time they were working on a leg, but he appears to be okay. 8-yard line for Marino and the Dolphins. They've got work to do. 7:26 left, 3rd quarter. On his own goal line. His receiver had slipped to the ground. Mark Clayton. Lester Hayes on the coverage.
Turf continuing to play an important role here. Raiders had shifted their secondary, playing both receivers on the wide side, doubling up on them.
Seattle with a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter at the Kingdome, and the Rams lead by plenty against New Orleans at home in Anaheim. Those games have progressed into the fourth quarter. Our game running slower than that. You'll recall we had about a 5-minute delay at the very start of the game on the opening kickoff when Rodell Thomas, the Miami Dolphin linebacker, was injured. He has been taken to the hospital with a neck injury. We have no other information to share with you. Marino, incomplete off the fingertips of Tony Nathan. And bounced out near net Moore. Mike Davis on the coverage.
Raiders overloading the right side of the Miami line, putting Howie Long over Stevenson to occupy him, and able to stunt, break a lineman free. Was the pressure really that forced the pass to be erratic.
Now here's an interesting down deep in their own end. Marino and the Dolphins, third and a full 10 for a first down, with a great pass offense, but a Raider defense that certainly has been their match thus far.
Marino calls these third down situations the passing downs himself.
2 of 6 on third down in the game. There's his man, Nathan, and a first down at the 20-yard line. If it's ruled a reception, it is.
I asked Dan Marino why Shula's allowed him to call those plays. He said, when you call a pass play, there's so much terminology. And he said, by the time Shula repeats it to a messenger, the messenger repeats it to me, and I call the play, and then we go to the line. We simply cannot do that. Here's the shot from behind as Marino obviously called a good play. Nathan just cutting to the inside, waiting until the last second. Again, a timing pattern. It's the kind of pattern that they've been very successful with today.
From our unique position on the goalpost with that camera, you saw the quickness of the arm of Marino. Now he lofts this one, and it fell in between Nathan and Mark Duper, and Marino kisses the turf under pressure again.
Raiders coming aggressively with the blitz in a number of situations here to try and get additional pressure on Marino. He's probably been hit more today, Dick, than in any other game he's played all year.
He's right about it. He's over the 50% mark, is he not, for the game? As we check the statistics, he's been under 50% only once all year, Marino, and that was against Indianapolis. And he's 18 for 34 today. They're the Blackwood boys, Lyle the senior and Glenn the younger brother, the two safety men for Miami. Well, they look like twins.
Well, they're a couple of tough dudes too. Rick.
2nd and 10. Contact before the snap, but I don't see any flag down. Marino goes down, and that will be logged as a sack.
Can't help but wonder if maybe Stevenson didn't miss the count. He was the only one moving. Everybody else moving after the fact. That sometimes happens if a center blows the count, gets the ball up early. Very often a fumble will result in that kind of situation.
I understand that Eric Dickerson has 1,746 yards for the season. He's over the 100-yard mark against New Orleans in 3 quarters today. So he's moving on OJ.
He's roughly right on pace for OJ's record, isn't he?
That was considered a run, not a sack. It was not a sack, a run. Marino. That'll be a first down. What an important throw as he hits Joe Rose. Rose's first catch of the game.
Van McElroy, number 26, plays center field in most situations for this Raider defense. Dropping way off the ball, trying to read the eyes of the quarterback. There he is in the center of your screen. Now you'll see Rose coming in at the top of your picture right there. There he is right there. And it's Otis McKinney, 23, and McElroy who finally come over to make the play. But you notice how deep McElroy is. They don't want to give the Miami Dolphins that long bomb. 19 yards to dig out of the hole on third down. Marino goes to work. There's free is Mark Clayton. Oh, he almost fumbled it in the celebration, and now you can let it go. Mark Clayton's 13th touchdown of the season. Almost an embarrassing moment for the young man from Louisville as he got a lucky bounce and a 64-yard touchdown
38th of the year for Marino.
There was a collision between McElroy and Mike Haynes. Right here, the two of them clashing together right on the heels of Clayton, knocking each other off the tackle, and Clayton has it all alone as he goes down, and what a lucky bounce. That ball bounced right up into his hands. Doing his celebrating a little early, and I'm sure there'll be a small lecture from Coach Shula during film time on Monday.
92-yard drive engineered by Marino, strictly with the pass. Shaman gets the extra point. With 4 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in the third quarter, the Dolphins are back within 4.
Let's look again at the reason for that play's success. It was McElroy coming across and diving across at the receiver and bumping into Haynes right there. They literally knock each other off and free Mark Clayton down the field.
Clayton may have learned a lesson of 1 yards engineered by Marino. It showed a couple of tough plays on third down, and Clayton 64 yards on the payoff, and it's a 24-20 lead for the Raiders. Von Schaman sends Greg Pruitt too deep in the end zone. The Raiders will take the touchback. We mentioned on NFL 84 that while Marino, now with 38 touchdowns this year, the all-time record, is to be applauded, let's not forget the greats of the past. And 25 years ago, that man, John Unitas, in a 12-game season, had 32 touchdown throws. And his coach later was Don Shula, now with Marino. And he had some interesting thoughts about the two men yesterday, didn't he?
He certainly did. Would not compare the two. But believe me, if Marino can stay healthy, if he can maintain the skills that he has developed so quickly, he will make a shambles of the record book at a very young age. Listen to this crowd. Whoa!
Marcus Allen for 3.
When things start to go a little sour on you, and you can feel the emotion kind of turning to the side of the Raiders early in this half, right at the end of the half and at the beginning of the second half, great players will come forward to make the great plays. And you said it, Marino made the big plays on that drive, got them in for the touchdown, and it's changed the emotional level here 100%.
Christensen. That looked like it had interception written all over it, as there was a Dolphin in front and a Dolphin behind. It looked too tall, and Christensen just stole it away. Bowser hit Wilson just as he threw it.
Wilson throwing under tremendous pressure. A.J. Dewey, the man who's covering Christensen, but if that ball had been an inch higher, it could never have been caught. In fact, it would indeed have been intercepted.
Here it is again. You see Bowser hitting Wilson as he delivers it. It's short of the first down. 3rd and 2.
There's no way to hear your signals out there, Dick.
Wilson calls time. And you can credit that timeout to the Orange Bowl crowd of 75,000.
I really believe if he had asked the official that he could have gotten an official timeout in that situation. As it is, he has taken a Raider timeout.
And that could play importantly in the fourth quarter. We still have 3:33 left in this third period. We might mention that the Dolphins, behind only 3 times at halftime all year, won those 3 games. They've been outscored only twice in the second half this season, and once by the team that beat them, the San Diego Chargers, who took them into overtime. And this time he asked the referee for some help. And Ben Grice says, okay, I'll try to calm the crowd. Normally this doesn't work.
Well, once you let the crowd know that they can control the game, you got a problem.
Let's go back to Shula and what he said about Unitas, just to complete that relationship. Said the 2 things that he remembers most and admired most about Unitas. One, he said, was his toughness. He would always give his receivers the extra step because he would take the pounding. He'd wait to the last second. And the other is he really wrote the book. Unitas wrote the book in the 2-minute drill.
Well, as one who performed often against Shula when he was in Baltimore against the Colts, I can vouch for both of those things. But again, I think it's the combination. Good quarterbacking and good coaching that makes for a great offensive team.
3rd and 2. The Dolphin players asking the crowd to quiet so that they can go to work. Wilson says, I can't hear.
This is a situation that many feel would be rectified if you could put a small receiver and transmitter in the helmets of the players.
Well, Commissioner Pete Rozelle said that they might well experiment with that in the preseason next year.
Well, I hope they work better than the mics we put on our officials day.
Marcus Allen stopped cold, and now listen. Walker will drift back. Ray Guy to punt.
Big plays early in the game by the Raider defense, but right there, Chuck Studley's defense came up with an extremely big play. A.J. Dewey, man, first on the scene in that tackle, and now the Dolphins will have excellent field position from which to attack the Raider defense.
Walker is playing really shallow. He's all the way up to the 33-yard line. Guy can kick it farther than that. And does. Walker all the way to the 15 and out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
Ooh.
He was out of bounds when he lost the ball.
Oh, he lateraled that ball. Very dangerous maneuver. Not the kind of thing a coach is going to be happy to see. Very dangerous.
Ray Guy, like a hitter, looking at the center fielder saying, you're playing that shallow, watch this one. And the Raiders. Dallas already updated 156 with their win today. Miami and Dallas in a virtual tie for the best record.
Shula and Landry battling it out too.
24-20, the Raiders lead. First down at the 17, and do we have an interesting piece of statistical information to say for Alzado pressuring, and Duper has it anyway. First down at the 32.
Part of the equation that creates a successful pass play, give the quarterback time to throw the fall. Dwight Stevenson, number 57, on the nose, playing on Bill Pickell, doing a great job. Pickell, who has become an excellent pass rusher, could not get anywhere near the quarterback on that play.
16 yards to the 33-yard line. Clayton to the right. We understand that that is now not a touchdown pass. Now they've changed it back. Okay, it is a touchdown pass. They were going to say that was a fumble run for a touchdown. Bennett blasting to the 40-yard line and a gain of 7. There was contemplation that since Clayton, in celebrating early, fumbled the ball, that would not be a touchdown pass but a fumble run for a touchdown. Now they've reversed their thinking and I think justifiably called it a touchdown pass, the 38th of the year. Seattle opens its lead against the Lions to 14 in the fourth quarter. That would give them sole possession of victory. First place, as Denver was upset in overtime by Kansas City today. Looks as if we might have 3 teams out of the AFC West, could have 3 out of the NFC East in the playoffs. Bennett breaking a tackle, 40, 50, finally out of bounds at the 38.
Rod Martin, number 53, missing the tackle on Woody Bennett on the outside. Good blocking on the inside to pin down the Raider defense. The center, Dwight Stevenson, doing an excellent job on that play. You'll see him right in the center of your screen on Reggie Kinlaw, number 62. His job to cut Kinlaw off. Not only cut him off, but got a second block on Matt Millen. Tremendous job. Now watch the play by Bennett. Running right out of the tackle of number 53, Rod Martin. Leg strength, broke away, and then showing some surprising speed for a big man.
With the injury to Andre Franklin, Bennett is the leading rusher for the Dolphins this year, and that was his longest run, 23 yards of the season. Marino now in Raider territory, gets it out to Nathan, ducks the tackle. 20, 10, down at the 11-yard line as he ran by Jack Squiring.
You very often see a quarterback duck underneath the on-rushing defensive line. Eric coming from the inside, looks like a short tackle. Nathan just ducks underneath his arm and heads upfield. Picks up an extra 15, 20 yards before he's finally knocked down.
Well, you talk about Marcus Allen, a great all-purpose player, but so is Nathan. He really does the job for the Dolphins in the same regard.
Certainly does. Great pass receiver, too.
At the 11-yard line, Miami trying to strike for the lead, and there it is! Marino has his third touchdown of the game, 11 yards to Clayton. 14th touchdown. That's a Miami record. Clayton breaking Nat Moore's single-season mark.
The challenge continues. Clayton, man-to-man on Lester Hayes. Hayes all over Clayton, but Marino didn't care. He threw the ball in there anyway, and Clayton caught it. Watch Hayes. You can't cover much better man-on-man. He's right on top of him, but Clayton just goes up in the air right over the top of Lester Hayes and catches the ball anyway.
Oh, great coverage, too. Now for the extra point try, which in its own way has been an adventure. Von Schamann trying to make it 27-24. The Dolphins have regained the lead. And after that onside kick by the Raiders when they had an 11-point lead, were unable to move the ball. Boy, Marino in no time at all in this third quarter has marched his team to 2 quick touchdowns, both by pass. 39 touchdowns for the year for young Dan Marino.
And this one, again, shows what tremendous confidence he has, not only in his arm, but also in his receivers.
And Mark Clayton, you know, Merlin, he was the 29th wide receiver selected a year ago in the draft. 29th out of Louisville. Last year he caught 6 passes. This year he has 13 touchdown catches.
Well, he certainly drew some high praise from Lester Hayes, the man trying to cover him on that play. He said, I cannot believe the improvement that Clayton has made just since the preseason game when we played them earlier in L.A. I'm sure no one more discouraged by that play. Look at Lester. Boy, he is down.
Is this game over yet?
Oh.
38 seconds left in the third quarter. Here's what Marino has done. Down 24-13. It took him only 2:29 to go 91 yards and then 1:53 to go 83 yards and regain the lead 27-24.
Yep. Now it's the Raiders' turn. Let's see if they can get themselves back into this ball game.
On that last drive, Marino 3 for 3, 53 of the yards passing. He's over 300 yards again. And this third quarter isn't over. What a game. Pruitt. He's had trouble, and he's not going to run it out. There's the experience paying off. Knew he didn't have to run it out, and will take the touchback. He bobbled 3 punts in the second half last week against Indianapolis, and thereby has lost his job as the punt returner to Cleve Montgomery.
For years, Pruitt, one of the most sure-handed of receivers, and suddenly starting to think about making that catch. And I'm sure it's the mental process that's got him baffled.
Meanwhile, the cornerbacks of the Raiders, Hayes and Haynes, trying to grab some air and wonder what can we do to stop this Marino pass attack. Christensen and Casper, 2 tight ends for Mark Wilson. The home field announcing its presence, that advantage.
Crowd, I think, feeling they had a part in stopping that last drive. Again, trying to get involved in this game, and you see the Dolphin players who know that this is not going to work.
You know what, I get a kick out of the Dolphin players when they raise their hands, as if it's almost to say quiet but don't quiet. I mean, we want to play but don't really be quiet. Here we go. Marcus Allen. 3 yards. Mark Brown down at the bottom of the pile, 51, along with Baumhauer, 73. Boy, he is a bull in the middle of that defense.
2 tight ends in the ball game. Dave Casper, you saw him catch a pass earlier for a touchdown. He's blocking in this situation. Really a tough blocker, excellent blocker, blocking on Charlie Bowser, number 56. Kept him right out of the play.
season, folks looked at the schedule and said, wait till December early. The Dolphins will host the Raiders, and this one has lived up to all the expectations. Sellout crowd, 27-24. The Dolphins lead. We open the fourth quarter. Christensen, one of the few tough chances he has not come up with. Glenn Blackwood was right there for Miami, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 7. Let's go through the scores of the day. These are the finals early. 16-13. That was not overtime, but Kansas City winning it late. 20-10, the Giants over the Jets. Pittsburgh lost in overtime to Houston, 23-20. Final, St. Louis upsetting New England 33-10. That all but knocks New England out of the playoff picture. Dallas wins at Philadelphia 26-10. We'll give you the rest of the scores. Overtime win Cincinnati over Cleveland. That puts them a game behind Pittsburgh, so the Central Division race not over. Big play, 3rd and 7. There's Christensen and a first down at the 32-yard line for the Raiders. Covered by Judson. The rest of the scores. Buffalo winning at second, 21-15, as they held off a Colts rally. 35-17. The 49ers are 13-1. 27-14. Green Bay beats Tampa Bay. 38-17. Dave Craig in that game has thrown 5 touchdown passes. The Seattle quarterback, 2 to Largent, 2 to Turner. And the Rams lead cut to 34-21 against New Orleans. That one at home in Anaheim. Here, 27-24, the Raiders trail Miami. Marcus Allen finds a little daylight. He just uses blockers and sees the open cracks in the defense so wonderfully well. 11 yards for Allen.
Running with real abandon, literally leaping over the top. Tremendous shot. Great acceleration, as you'll watch from behind. And when Allen finally makes the cut, watch him right here. He'll cut up inside and literally jump over the top. Look at the body control there. They finally grab a hold of one more player, and he'd have been gone.
84 yards rushing for Allen, who got a little extra help from Mickey Marvin. Had a pretty good grab on one of the Dolphin defenders. Wilson in trouble. Bob Brzezinski. First sack suffered by the Raiders today.
The Miami Dolphins are not a blitzing team, but they felt that they were going to have to do some blitzing to get to Wilson today to break the concentration of the Raider offense. Brzezinski from his linebacking position on the blitz on that play, able to get in successfully. Wilson taking a little too much time, could not find the open receiver, taken to the ground.
Don't normally expect Brzezinski to be in on the blitz. It's usually the other linebacker, Bowser. Marcus Allen with long yardage, trying to get outside, cannot.
Man at the bottom of that stack, number 59, Bob Brzezinski. Just took Allen's feet out from underneath him. Brzezinski, I think, plays the run about as well as any linebacker in all of football.
That'll bring up 3rd down at about 15. We remind you this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited.
Long yardage situation. Let's see if they come with a blitz, Dick.
1 out of 8. Wilson on 3rd down today.
Yes, they do, right there.
Doug Betters, his 12th sack of the year. He leads the Dolphins.
The Bees are exploding. 56. Bowser from the outside. Brown right there, 51. And Betters from the other side. All three converging on top of Mark Wilson. He did not have a chance.
He felt the sting, and here's Guy to kick. Walker back at the 18-yard line. A flag is down.
What a kick.
Beautiful kick. All the way to the 10 to Walker. And he returns at 16 yards to the 26. 58-yard punt by Guy.
Officials signaling the...
Says, give me a captain. Where's the captain?
Somebody here got to be able to make a call. I think there was an offside against the Raiders.
motion again.
5 yards and kick over.
The Raiders guy will have to kick it again. 11:46 remaining in the fourth quarter. Miami about to get the ball again with a 27-24 lead after they had seen the Raiders move to a 24-13 advantage middle of the third quarter.
Some interesting changes of emotional level in this game, back and forth. But I think looking back at this game, perhaps the most important series of all was that tremendous drive that Marino put together to kind of put his team back into the driver's seat. They didn't go ahead with that drive, but they got back into the ball game, got the crowd involved, and the crowd has played a big role since that time.
So Guy, the veteran from southern Mississippi, once kicked a field goal in college of 61 yards, a #1 pick by the Raiders. That raised some eyebrows back in '73, but what a buy that was. Walker eases up to the 22. Guy, this one not very good, off the side of the foot. And an up back will take it. That was one of the Blackwoods, Glenn Blackwood, at the 33-yard line. So the penalty hurts the Raiders. A gain of about 12 yards on the penalty. Only a 40-yard kick by Guy here at the Orange Bowl. Who will ever forget Kellen Winslow and his 13 catches and blocked field goals, and they dragged him off the field. This is one of the easier moments for Winslow, and the two marks against Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes.
And they have cooked him a bit today. He's made some good plays, but they've gone over the top of him.
And they're going to go again. Well, this one's to Johnson over the middle and close to a first down. Boy, that one dangerously close to a possible interception, but about 10 yards to Dan Johnson. Squirick made the defensive play for the Raiders, and suddenly the Raiders have been unable to stop Marino after they really had checked him pretty effectively.
Raider defense, a big play defense. They showed us that early in the ball game. They need a big play now. They need a turnover. They need to make something happen. They've got to kind of get things going again for their team. And it's been this Raider defense that really has demonstrated the leadership over the last half of this season. Let's see what they can do in a relatively tough situation against a hot-handed Marino. On that last play, Marino has no fear. I mean, that's an interception pass, and he just throws it right in and completes it.
Second and that much for a first down. And a reminder that this game running late, so some of you will not see all of Silver Spoons tonight. It's a great lineup on Sunday night, and one of my favorites, Paul Newman and Fort Apache the Bronx, is our featured film at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we hope you'll stay right with us here at NBC. As we come down to the wire, we'll have Saturday telecasts the next 2 Saturdays, as well as the full fare on Sundays, approaching the playoffs.
Second and inches. Let's see if Marino doesn't gamble and maybe go for the long bomb here. Nope.
Trying to get the first down, and does with ease. Tony Nathan near midfield, 48-yard line. Matt Millen made the tackle. For the Raiders, this is what's at stake for them. Miami's already clinched the playoff spot and the AFC East. Denver losing. Seattle is winning, so they'll be 12-2. The Raiders at 9-4. Should they lose, then New England's loss today at home against St. Louis, well, Patriots will only be a game back, and actually they have the advantage if the two tie, if New England and the Raiders should tie at the end of the year.
I think the New England Patriots certainly have some advantages on the schedule too. The last couple of ball games not as tough as those the Raiders will have to face.
The Raiders have to go to Detroit on Monday night and then play Pittsburgh at home, and the Steelers now are in their own dogfight. Now that was a tough chance for Clayton. He was trying to stay in bounds, and he just didn't have enough room with which to work because Lester Hayes had pinned him on the corner. Monday night game against the Lions in Detroit, and then the Steelers, and that suddenly becomes a most important game. The Dolphins, who are playing for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, go to Indianapolis and finish at home against Dallas, a critical game undoubtedly for the Cowboys to close out the year. So whoever devised that wild card concept certainly kept a lot of fans happy, because so many teams going right down to the final weeks and week to decide whether they'll be in the playoffs. Shula in the Orange Bowl, mighty tough to beat. 2nd and 10. Woody Bennett greeted rudely by Bill Peckel, the second-year man from Rutgers.
Peckel and Martin in on that tackle. That's the kind of rough play that the Raiders need to start putting together one after another here. They would still like to shake that football loose. You know, there was an amazing stat. in the last 4 games, the Dolphins' opponents had not fumbled the ball a single time. I think in concentration, your concentration against a tough opponent really improves. The opponents in the last 4 games prior to this game had not fumbled a single time, not even recovered their own fumble in those 4 games.
Just one today, Barnwell, that was deep in Miami territory early in the game. On 3rd and 13, going long for Clayton, and it hit Hayes in the back, and a flag is down.
There's a flag down way upfield. I don't think it had anything to do with the action we saw.
And another in the backfield of the Dolphins.
I think there may be a holding call, and I believe this flag was an illegal bump, Dick. That would appear to be the call from the far side, but let's let the officials sort it out.
Marino's pass hit Lester Hayes. It looked to be in the back of the helmet.
Well, of course, that's legal as long as he is not putting his hands up and waving them. He's allowed to take that position.
Holding on the offense. Personal foul on the defense. We're going to play it over.
No numbers given. The man in the baseball cap is Don Strock, backup quarterback, who plays a very important role on this team, and really an unusual man, a very bright football mind, a man who has to play a second team quarterback, has to be ready to play every week without being able to take the bows. Strock tipped his head to us there. He must have heard us on that play. He also will send information into Marino. He's got an excellent football mind and a great feel for defenses.
3rd down, 13. Marino goes underneath to Matt Moore, and he's tackled at the 50, far short of the first down. Marino unhappy. Another flag is down. Back where Marino threw the ball. Appeared to be against Miami, and if that's the case, the Raiders undoubtedly will decline.
See John Giesler coming over. I talked to him. He's, of course, responsible for keeping Alzado off of his quarterback, and I said, are you worried?
Offensive holding, number 79. Decline the penalty. It's 4th down.
That's John Giesler that I'm talking about. His job to keep Alzado off the quarterback. I said, are you worried about what Alzado might do to you? He said, I don't care. Let Alzado do anything he wants to me. I just don't want him to hit Marino. So, of course, his job to protect the quarterback, and that was not Bruce Davis, as you saw.
He says, I got enough of my own problems. Don't give me Giesler's penalties. Lee Montgomery lets that one go, and it takes a Raider bounce and will be finally down at the 25-yard line.
Let's go back and take a second look at Giesler working on that last play. The officials detecting a holding call. Roby not at all happy. Actually, it's Howie Long in this particular situation, and he just had a hammerlock on Howie's arm.
The Raiders trailing by 3, 27-24, have the ball at their, statistically, the 25. The ball over the 24-yard line. Wilson in trouble. And now throws for Doki Williams, and this could be a touchdown. The Raiders take the lead. And it was Wilson extricating himself from the pressure and finding Doki Williams on a broken pattern. We would guess 63 yards and a touchdown.
See the motion on the far side of the field, and the official over to talk to them, but Doki Williams showing you that blazing speed. Wilson trapped in the backfield, was able to swing to the outside, and let's watch Doki as he finally sees his quarterback in trouble and now breaks upfield. William Judson, 49, the man trying to catch up with him, just does not have enough speed to match strides with Doki, and Doki will carry it in for 6 points.
75 yards officially on that throw. What a game this is. Very important extra point, because that gives the Raiders more than a field goal lead. It's now 31-27. Again,
the look at Wilson here. Now watch the pressure from the right side. He literally is trapped here. That's Baumhauer, 73. He gets away. Remember, Baumhauer playing with that injured ankle. Magnificent stadium. I mean, it's jammed full of people. Not a soul is left.
Barr again roots one high and deep, and Fulton Walker going to gamble 4 yards deep. 10, 15, some acrobatic running to the 20. Actually across the 20. Technically a 25-yard return for Fulton Walker.
Got to wonder if it's worth it for that 1 yard he gained beyond the 20.
West Virginia Mountaineer Fulton Walker, who had that Super Bowl record kickoff return for a touchdown against the Redskins out in the Rose Bowl.
The Dolphins have not done well in the run back department this year. I think in fact they're ranked last in that department in the NFL, Dick.
Don Shula now has the ball in the midst of his young quarterback Dan Marino, can light up the board in a hurry, as he showed us in the third quarter when the Dolphins fell behind by 11. Looking for Clayton. There he is, and knocked out of bounds at the 20, and a flag will go with it as Clayton was hit late in the judgment of the official. Lester Hayes will get an added 15 onto that one.
Don Shula right over to talk to Lester Hayes instantly. Shula had complained earlier that Hayes was hitting late on the sideline. The officials right there on that play, and they concurred as Clayton was clearly going out of bounds. Hayes giving him the extra shot. Both wide receivers to one side of the field. They come in motion. They force Lester Hayes to come from the inside. Well, I don't know if I'm on the other. I tell you, if I'm on the Raiders side of the field, I've got to be a little upset that Shula can put that kind of pressure on the officials. Now there was a hit. I don't think Clayton was yet out of bounds. Hard to tell from that angle.
Nevertheless, the penalty makes it a first down at the 41. Clayton has 140 yards and 2 touchdowns and catches, and Marino is sacked for the second time, and the ball loose after the whistle. Bill Pickel and Greg Townsend, 2 of those young defensive linemen for the Raiders, making the play. With 8:32 left in the fourth quarter of this dandy, let's check elsewhere. New York we go.
All right, Dick, in Seattle, the Seahawks have taken sole possession of first place in the AFC West, beating the Lions today. Dave Craig threw 5 touchdown passes. This one of 51 yards to Darrell Turner. Seattle at one point trailed 17-14. They come back to win going away.
All right, Bill, and of course Craig had a 400-yard game last week against Denver, so the young quarterback from Milton of Wisconsin is certainly finding his way, a rather golden one here late in '84. The Seahawks are in first place. Tony Nathan looking for daylight. Oh, what a move! James Davis saved a touchdown at the 44. A flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
I'm afraid it's a flag that's going to negate that beautiful run, explosive running by Nathan. They're going to carry it all the way back, and I think
Van McElroy challenging
McElroy
Marino.
is angry. Well, I don't think he was mad at Marino. I think he was mad at Clayton. I think Clayton said something to him as he walked back.
Clipping, and maybe McElroy said, hey, that's my career you're playing with. Well, I can't imagine a playoff game having more outstanding
83 on the offense.
plays.
Exactly what it was.
Intensity is certainly at a peak.
Imagine going through 13 games with 8 sacks on the season. Here's 83 right here. Let's see what he did. Let's see if he did take McElroy down from behind. That's what McElroy was mad about right there. No question, a clip. And that's the kind of decision a young player occasionally will make and regret later on. McElroy's not the kind of guy to mess around with.
Unusual for the Dolphins to have 5 penalties in a game. For the Raiders, that's almost a low count, isn't it? 5. Marino dumps it off. Nathan again. Caught from behind and dropped at the 35-yard line. The 15-yard clipping penalty, not a 10-yarder, but 15 yards, and so Miami really working out of the hole on first down. As you see the clock, time remaining in the fourth quarter. Raiders 31, Miami 27. Third down, 16. And the crowd certainly is a
Very
different
quiet.
audience.
Very quiet. Well, Marino knows how to get him back in the ballgame. And he can do that. He is such an explosive quarterback. Of course, he has great tools to work with.
There he goes deep. Intercepted by Haynes. His second interception of the day. 40. He has 1 touchdown. 50. the 15-yard line, and there's an all-pro cornerback. 56 yards unofficially on the return to go with a 97-yard touchdown return in the first quarter.
Jimmy Cephalo, number 81, the intended receiver. And Mike Haynes had a good jump on the football. He'll be outside on this play. You should see him right there. He read it all the way. Left his man, cut inside, left Duper, number 85, and just stole the football from Jimmy Cephalo. Upfield, showing some good running skills. New England, they said this young man could have been a running back, could have been a wide receiver, enough skill to literally to do anything he wanted to do, Dick.
He's leading all runners in the entire game. 153 yards for him in 2 tries. And now the crowd trying to help Miami. Marcus Allen. Ooh, hammered and then takes a little extra shot to the face bar. Good old helmet. That one just paid for itself. There is Otis McKinney, out of breath after helping Mike Haynes downfield. Lester Hayes.
Look at both those guys. Look at all the oxygen there. They're all working on the oxygen over there. We talked about the humidity. Even though the sun has been down for a long time, it is still a hot and humid night. And believe me, the running that those defensive backs are doing tonight, they're more than earning their salaries out on this field.
2nd and 8. Allen, who's over the 1,000-yard mark for the season, doesn't get the first down yardage. Out of bounds at about the 7.
Excuse me, Dick. Casper continues to throw excellent blocks. It's interesting, in this 2 tight end situation, he's actually got Todd Christensen blocking. Christensen doesn't really like to block, but Casper has been doing such a great job of blocking that Christensen almost by comparison had to start blocking in there.
Did you see Langford on that play? Casper knocked him down. Then Hawkins came out, knocked him down again, and he still got in on the tackle, the cornerback for Miami. There's Allen with 97 yards today to lead all rushers over the 1,000-yard mark again. A big play, 3rd and 2.
Great time for play action here if they can use it. Nope. It goes to Allen outside. He'll have it.
He walks it in. The 16th touchdown of the season for Marcus Allen. Our NBC Sports sign stopping him as he goes through the end zone. He was skidding over in that concrete area or sharp area, trying to stop his momentum.
Martin waving a sole digit to the fans and saying, hey, we're number 1. We'll prove it right here. 6:07. Still a lot of time left in this ball game, and this might be an opportunity, if you could get in to block that extra point, to make something happen here for the Dolphins.
Barr's try for point is good. So after the interception by Mike Haynes, and boys, he plays the steam of Miami. And the Dolphins trail by 11 as Fulton Walker dumped at the 14-yard line by Derek Jensen, the captain of the Raiders special teams, the man who blocked that punt in the Super Bowl that led to the touchdown for the Raiders that got them going toward their Super Bowl title last year.
Number 31. What a great job he has done. Right in the middle of your screen. Just blows by everyone all by himself. A one-on-one tackle here. Takes down an elusive runner in Fulton Walker. Walker looked like he was running at full speed, and maybe that loose turf out there making it difficult for those runners and receivers to make that quick cut, Dick.
Needless to say, the 38 points surrendered by the Dolphins today, the most scored against Miami this year, 38-27. But the way Marino can move a club, and he starts from the shotgun, plenty of time. This is the kid Carter from Alabama all the way to the 30-yard line before Mike Haynes can make the tackle. Rod Martin assisting, and Marino here at 23 in his second year, already with a presence. He knows he has to score twice. One field goal, 1 touchdown even won't do it. 2 touchdowns. He's only got 5.5 minutes. He's saying, let's not waste a second.
Coming quickly back now by allowing Marino to call those 3rd down plays, and I'm sure he's calling the plays in himself in the huddle here. All passing plays. They can get them off much more rapidly, Dick.
15 yards on that last play. Marino to Clayton. How in the world did that ball get through Lester Hayes? He can't believe it.
Lester's saying that Clayton put his arm back, and I believe he did. I think Clayton actually used his arm to push off a little bit. Watch him just after he makes the cut. Just a little shove right there, making enough room for that ball to drive.
Throw. First down at the 49. 20 more yards for Marino, who's over the 400-yard mark. Joe Rose picks up a few more. That's just pocket change for Marino. Gets knocked down pretty hard himself by Sean Jones.
On every play of this drive, Marino has either been hit or pressured. Tremendous pressure generated by the Raider defensive line. They are just coming relentlessly on Marino.
Look at the numbers. 424 yards more for Marino.
Good.
He's going to break Dan Fouts' single season record, and no one thought they'd touch Fouts, who threw for almost over 4,700 yards a couple years ago.
Mike Davis being attended to by the doctors and trainers. Hard to tell what's wrong. We got word just a moment ago that Lyle Blackwood, we mentioned that he had a cramp in his leg. He will be probably out of the ball game. He's apparently cramped up again, a calf problem for him, something he's suffered with over the past week.
That's a break for the Dolphins in one sense. That Davis won't be on the field for a play, and also it stops the clock without the Dolphins having to spend a timeout. 4:30 left, and it will be 2nd and 6 from the Raider 46.
It also allows Coach Shula an opportunity to have some input as to what play will be called.
Next weekend, don't forget there's a Saturday game, Buffalo and the Jets, and then on Sunday, Seattle, Kansas City, the Chiefs in a spoiler role, Cincinnati back in the thick of things at New Orleans, Patriots still alive against Philadelphia, Miami at Indianapolis. We'll be out in Denver, Mile High Stadium, to see the Chargers and the Broncos, and Houston and the Rams. Rams trying to get a wild card spot. Marino. What a duper. Took it right out of the hands of Mike Haynes. I thought Haynes was going to have his 3rd interception.
Well, we build it speed on speed. The two great wide receivers, the two great cornerbacks, and they have battled head to head all day. You see again, Hayes letting him go inside. That's an unusual thing. And Duper wanted to lateral that football. He wanted to toss it. Couldn't find anyone.
First down. Going for it all. There's Duper. And there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage.
Howie Long has put tremendous pressure on this Dolphin offensive line. A number of calls today have gone against the people trying to keep him away from Marino.
This one was a legal motion. Marino has set a personal record, most throws in a game. That won't last long, the way he likes to get it in the air. Let's go back to that point on Long, and as a defensive lineman, you can so well appreciate how one player that has the quality of Long can really change. Here's a disciplined team that doesn't create many penalties, the Dolphins, and they've had to go to that to stop him.
Well, even that penalty, which was a motion penalty, was on John Giesler, the man trying to block on Howie Long. And what he was trying to do was get back quick enough so that Long couldn't get around to the outside. So although it wasn't a holding penalty, it was definitely caused by his pressure on Marino.
1st and 15 for the Dolphins. 3:33 left. Almost intercepted by Otis McKinney, intended for Mark Clayton. McKinney has built so much. Another penalty flag down, and it looks like he and Mike Haynes could trade wardrobes.
We've got a penalty call, I believe, against the Raiders.
Stops the clock with 3:28 left in the 4th quarter.
Lined up in the neutral zone.
Howie Long.
Well, not a perfect night.
Nobody's perfect.
No.
But 2 Raiders in this game have distinguished themselves. You know now why they are consistent Pro Bowlers and All Pros. Mike Haynes and Howie Long. And who's going to ever vote against Dan Marino as the top quarterback in the AFC? That's against the Dan Fouts and all the rest of the team. Here comes Martin. Almost intercepted by Piquel.
Smart call by Marino. He's had so much pressure. When you're getting that kind of pressure, a couple of things you can do. You can run the draw play, you can run the screen play. This is a little screen play trying to go up the middle. Piquel right in the middle of your screen, up in front of Nathan. If he had been able to wait, or if Nathan had been able to get that ball, I think he would have had excellent yardage. And Piquel, realizing a lineman's dream was waiting for him, an interception, a chance to run, pounding the ground.
Anyone hear you when you pound the ground like
No,
that?
no.
Shower, some of the umbrellas in evidence, so light rain falling. 2nd and 10 for Marino from the Raider 34. He needs 2 touchdowns. Oh, there's almost a movement by Newman. Marino down the middle to Rose. Joe Rose to the 5-yard line. Another flag is down, however, and this could be against Miami. It appeared that Newman might have moved before the snap.
One of the things that someone moved, let's see, it also appeared to me that one of the wide receivers may have tried to get a little jump. Mike Haynes is putting so much pressure on the outside that the receiver's trying to get away, and Joe Rose, who got a bad shoulder, you see him
He's backing up before
79
the snap.
again, and that's exactly what we talked about earlier. Giesler trying to get back to protect his quarterback. Howie Long putting so much pressure on him that he's trying to jump the count a little bit. They nail him again.
So instead of 1st and goal at the 5, another long Marino gain. It's 2nd down and 15, and here comes Jim Jensen. You've got to watch him, number 11. He's their all-purpose. He can play tight end, wide receiver. He's the 3rd-string quarterback, the top player on special teams, and sometimes they'll throw a little trick play out there when Jensen's in the lineup. Let's spot where he's located. He's on the tight end side, near side, number 11. You can see him. He's got the clean uniform. Kept him in the block. I don't think he had that in mind. Short gain to Carter to the 33, where it'll bring up 3rd down and 8 or 9. Howie Long again putting pressure on Marino.
Counting down to 3 minutes. Marino's got to explode here. Right now the Raiders playing the clock, Dick.
In a crowd to Moore, incomplete, and that'll bring up a 4th and everything. 4th and 8, because if Marino and the Dolphins can't make a 1st down here, it's all but over. 2:47 left, and that goal line stand at the end of the 1st half, where the Dolphins tried 3 times from the 1-yard line and then gambled running and ran themselves right out of the half, may well be one of the many important points that'll be chewed
Tom
up.
Flores on the left, Earl Leggett, the man on the right. He should be taking a bow. It's his defensive line that's made life so uncomfortable here in the 2nd half for Dan Marino. Tremendous pressure they've applied to him, Dick, and that's been the difference in this half. He has not had time to cut them apart. He's had to unload the ball before he's been ready to do it.
Lyle Alzado replaces Townsend. Oops, Long was offside, so this is a free play for Marino, and he gets the 1st down. Jim Jensen at the 20-yard line. Oh, how many times has this young Marino come up with a clutch play, 3rd and 4th down?
The quarterback that many are comparing Marino to is Joe Namath, and it's that quick release, that rifle release. You'll see it here. When Jensen opens up, you'll see Marino right there. That ball is in the air before the final cut. A rifle shot. Of course, the penalty is refused. Ball will be inside of the 20-yard line.
There's Jensen, who broke all of the great Harry Aganis' records at Boston University. He plays tight end, quarterback, wide receiver. He's a snapper, special teams, and also works pretty well on the guitar and harmonica. Anything else?
Probably cooks a pretty good omelet, too.
He's still in there. 2:41 left.
Blitz.
Davis on the blitz, but he gets it off to Nat Moore, and the veteran is to the 9-yard line. 1st and goal. The clock running. 2:31, 2:30 left. 10 more yards for Marino. He's working on a possible 500-yard day.
The ability to react instantly. The blitz was on. Mike Davis coming from the outside. Marino read it, fired that ball out instantly. The receiver knew what he had to do. They pick up the 1st down.
450 yards passing for Marino. Looking for a touchdown. He's got it to Duper. Touchdown passes for Marino, and Tom Flores says, will this game ever end?
You saw Marino burn Lester Hayes on the right side. He comes back in a similar situation, throws to a well-covered Mark Duper right over the top of 22 Mark Haynes. It's Haynes right there leaning back. He's all over the receiver. Can do nothing to stop it. A perfectly thrown ball and a great catch.
86 yards in 10 plays. Boy, Marino has put him on a 91-yard march, 83 yards, 86-yard marches for touchdowns in the second half. Try for a point by Von Schamann. It was in this spot in the first half where he had one blocked, and that is a very important play in this game, because had it not been blocked, it would be a field goal game. A flag is down. Instead, the Dolphins have to get the ball back and score a touchdown, not a field goal.
One of the advantages. Well, let's let the official.
Line up in neutral zone. The point is good. 5 yards.
Watch 99 in the middle of your picture. Sean Jones gets that left hand up. And that now forces Miami to think touchdown, not field goal.
And let's think with Shula for a second here. Do you try the onside kick, or do you kick it deep and give your defense an opportunity to go after the Raider offense? There's Sean Jones on the sideline. He's been playing a great deal in the defensive line. Youngster out of Northeastern has really made a strong adjustment to the game. Had a lot to learn, but is coming on. They're very proud of him on the Raiders side of the field. I'm sure they're proud of him for what he's done tonight.
You know, if the Dolphins get the ball back and should get it back deep in their own end, the way Marino's going, believe it or not, that long time record of Norm Van Brocklin, most yardage passed in a single game, could be in jeopardy, but it would take the right circumstances. Von Schamann, will he kick it deep? The Raiders don't think so.
They're setting up for a possible onside. Loading up on the left side. There it is. The onside kick.
Casper bobbled it, but Otis McKinney appeared to fall on it for the Raiders.
The ball was free at one time. Let's see who came up with it. I'm sure they're fighting for it at the bottom of that stack. The Raiders come up with the ball.
Otis McKinney, after Dave Casper unable to pick it off, has it for the Raiders at the Los Angeles 43 with 2:03 remaining. So the Dolphins have the 2-minute timeout plus their own 3 left.
An excellent onside kick by Von Schamann. What you want that ball to do is take a nasty hop at the end, like a bad hop for a baseball player. There it is. Came right up. Casper got his hands on it, couldn't control it. The ball took a lucky hop right in there in the hands of McKinney, but it wasn't McKinney who came up with it finally. It looks, who is it? I can't tell who ended up with it, but I don't think it was McKinney who ended up with the ball.
The crowd trying to help Miami as they did earlier in this half. Frank Hawkins straight ahead, and there's the timeout at the 2-minute. 1:59 it comes. Just to quickly brush up the all-time NFL record. Marcus Allen wisely did not go out of bounds. You saw him. There was that moment he hesitated, said, no, I'll stay in bounds, take the short gain, and the timeout called by Miami. They have 2 left, and that stops the clock with 1:52 remaining.
Don Shula, his coaches along the side.
By 4, 3rd down and 6. Will the Raiders throw a pass here to try to get the first down? Nope. Look at Allen. He might go all the way. Marcus Allen of the Raiders has scored again, his 3rd of the game. Oh, my.
And the pressure is off on the Raiders sideline. Tremendous reaction to Allen as he started to his left. That whole Miami defense, anticipating the run, started to their right. Allen registered that, made a quick cut back against the grain, and jumped one player, and he was gone. Tremendous vision. Watch him starting to the left here, now sees the defense overreacting and just uses his speed to break it away and take it to the end zone.
What a player. Marcus Allen, 156 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns to extend his NFL lead to 17 touchdowns this year.
Talk about great players making the big play in the big game.
And Barr adds the extra point. Would you have believed when we walked in the stadium today that the Miami Dolphins would give up 45 points to the Raiders?
Statistically, the Dolphins defense has not done well in many categories, but one of the categories they've been very strong in is points allowed.
They were right with Denver and
early
Chicago
in the year.
most of the year.
I think they ranked 5th coming into this ball game. They will not be there after this game. And there is Allen. Look at how the whole defense had overreacted to that play, which started out to their right. And Allen could see that and was able to use his speed to take advantage of it.
Certainly in the modern Don Shula era, 45 points would probably challenge a negative record for the Dolphins.
We have seen the only 2 defeats for this Dolphin team on the year, Dick, both of which have been high-scoring, explosive games in which the Dolphins have played exceedingly well, but have been outscored.
This is the team that's 5th in the entire league in least points allowed.
Bob Brzezinski, one of the men who overreacted, and you know, that's a tough thing. They just wanted to make the play on Marcus.
Well, don't wander away, because with Dan Marino about to come out, even though it's 45-34, Marino, who has already really rewritten the most touchdowns in a season mark with 4 more to give him 40 for the year, but he's going to have a chance the 80 yards of field to work on Norm Van Brockman's long-standing record of most yards passing in a game.
45 points. Oof. I'm sure Tom Flores, who has been concerned about his offense and their ability to score, extremely pleased by what they've done today. Another man who should take a bow on that far sideline, Bob Zeman, defensive coordinator for the Raiders. He's been calling the defenses, and I'm sure right now reminding all of his troops, stay deep, keep everything in front of you, make them work their way down the field. They'll give Marino yardage here. They'll try to keep him from taking the big one.
He starts with a triple right. Nat Moore, Mark Clayton, and Cefalo all to the right, and Van McElroy, yeah, he's already to the 50-yard line. Marino throws short and incomplete, and probably a wise drop by Carter. Not that he thought of doing that, because that would have kept the clock running, and they only had about 5 yards anyway.
Lester Hayes back about 25 yards. McElroy won't even go back to the huddle. The prevent is in there now.
2nd down and 10.
Dan Marino at the moment has 470 yards passing. Greg Pruitt and Marcus Allen. Pruitt, who was 2nd to Johnny Rodgers for the Heisman back in the early 70s. Marcus, who won it at USC. Well, we've seen some brilliant plays today. Greg Townsend, another one, as he sacks Marino at the 3-yard line. That's the 3rd sack of Marino, who had been sacked but 7 times all season long. So that was part of the Raider game plan. They had to pressure Marino, and they did.
They came into this game dedicated to getting pressure on the quarterback. As top sackers, as you see them there, Martin, Long, Piquel, Townsend, Davis. That one by Townsend, number 93. We talked about Howie Long earlier in the game. Martin, I don't believe, had one today, but Piquel definitely a force in the pass rush.
Clock running, and the Dolphins taking their time. Now that sack really put them in a 3rd and 27 hole. Knocked down, incomplete in the end zone. So 4th and 27 at your 3-yard line. 101 left. Not many play calls for that. So updating the playoff picture with 2 weekends to go, plus the Bears at San Diego tomorrow night. Miami has clinched the East. They'll go to 12-2. Denver loses today to Kansas City, so Seattle jumps in front of them for the AFC West, but Denver has already clinched a wild card, so they are in the playoffs. The Raiders, 10-4, will take a 2-game lead over New England and all but assure themselves a wild card berth. So it looks as if it'll be all West in the AFC. 2 Western teams in the wild card, and Roby will have to punt from deep in his own end zone.
They'll just let this one roll. They won't worry about it. Roby tries to line drive it, didn't get all of it. They'll just let that football lay there.
To the 43-yard line, where the Raiders will have the ball with 49 seconds. Let's go back to the end of the first half. The Raiders led at that time, and the Miami Dolphins had the ball at the 1-yard line and 3 chances, and this is the last with 9 seconds left. They don't go for the pass. They try to run it, and Pete Johnson
diving in, and you see the penetration from all of the defensive linemen underneath, linebackers concentrating on the play, and Howie Long lets you know right there they did not make it in.
Now to New York.
All right, Dick, besides the game you and Merlin are describing from the Orange Bowl, there were two other late games today in the NFL. The first one saw Seattle with 5 touchdown passes from David Craig defeat Detroit 38-17. At one time, Detroit held a 17-14 lead. Seattle has now won 8 in a row, and as you mentioned earlier, they have the AFC West lead alone now at 12-2. The Rams pounded New Orleans 34-21 in the other game. Eric Dickerson had 148 yards. He needs 224 to pass O.J. Dick?
So